the World Stone destroyed, Sanctuary's role in the eternal conflict was forever changed. People largely forgot the horrors of an earlier age, and the town of New Tristram sprung up not too far from where Diablo once dwelt beneath the earth. But Deckard Cain hadn't forgotten. He brought his adopted niece Leah to New Tristram and continued to study the evil that had once crept from the cathedral. Cain was convinced that it was only a matter of time before doom would threaten Sanctuary again, and, for 20 years of relative safety, his warnings were easy to ignore, until a star fell from the heavens. The star struck Tristram's old cathedral, sending Cain plummeting into a crater and Leah rushing for help. Stories of the fallen star attracted heroes from all of his sanctuary, including a roving barbarian, survivor of Ariad's destruction, a vengeance-driven demon hunter, a monk from the monasteries of Ivgorod, a witch doctor from the Umbaru people, and a wizard from the island nation of Xianzai. Each of these individuals demonstrated unparalleled abilities, reminiscent of the Nephilim born to angels and demons long ago. The heroes answered Leah's plea for help and found Cain, who had survived the impact, fighting for his life against skeletal abominations reanimated by the fallen star's energies. Investigating the crater, they discovered that the fallen star was but a man, one with little recollection of his arrival in Sanctuary. There were few clues to the stranger's identity, an ominous portent he could barely remember, though he was certain of its importance, and his sword, which is shattered when he struck Sanctuary. After 2 decades of expecting new horrors to befall Sanctuary, Cain identified the man's plight as key to understanding the coming darkness and tasked the Nephilim with retrieving the sword pieces. Although the heroes successfully retrieved the fragments, Magda, a cultist of the lesser evil Belial, attempted to seize the shards and mortally wounded Cain before fleeing from Leah and the heroes. As his final act on Sanctuary, Cain repaired the sword and passed away before the eyes of his grieving niece. Cain's suffering was not entirely in vain. Reunited with his weapon, the stranger revealed himself as the fallen ancient Tyrael, who had sacrificed his divinity to warn humanity of the arrival of 2 demon lords, the lesser evils who had once cast Diablo and his brothers out from the burning hells. Belial, the Lord of Lies, and Azmodan, the Lord of Sin, were loose on Sanctuary, resuming their war to dominate mankind. Together with the Nephilim, Leah and Tyrael pursued Magda to the desert city of Chaldeum. They cornered Magda with demon-infested Alcarnus, where they finally avenged Cain's death. But the heroes learned the dark truth from the witch before she breathed her last. Her master, Belial, the Lord of Lies, was hidden deep within Chaldeum, manipulating its people from the shadows. Tyrael and Leah searched the city sewers for evidence of the demon lord, but only found Belial's minions and their captive, Adria, Leah's long-lost mother, the same witch who once provided assistance to Aiden and his companions in their fight against Diablo. Conflict with the forces of evil had forced Adria into hiding years ago, and she had reluctantly left Leah behind. Both women were grateful for their reunion, but Adria quickly revealed the gravity of her presence in Chaldeum. Belial's minions had captured her in search of the Black Soulstone, an artifact which could trap the souls of the prime and lesser evils, banishing them from Sanctuary. The artificer of the Black Soulstone, a Haradrim trader known as Sultan Kul, was the only one who knew of its location, and he had been dead for centuries. Using Leah's magic, the party summoned the shade of the Mad Wizard and struck a bargain. Kul would share the path to his buried magical archives and the Soulstone within, in exchange for his resurrection. Once Kul was restored to life at the heart of his lair, he summoned forth the Black Soulstone, but was surprised to see the crystal humming with the souls of 5 of the 7 evils. Over 20 years, Adria had carefully marked the essences of the 5 demon lords so that they would become trapped in the stone. Suspicious of the witch and her intentions, Kul offered the Nephilim a deal. Work with him to cast down the heavens and hells and reign together over Sanctuary. The heroes rejected the proposal and were forced to contend with Kul's forbidden magic. With the Black Soulstone in their grasp, the Nephilim returned to Chaldeum to imprison Belial, only to find the city besieged by his forces. Acting swiftly, the heroes forced their way into the Imperial Palace and unmasked Belial, who had disguised himself as Zircon II, Child Emperor of Chaldeum. In his fury, the Lord of Lies nearly tore the Imperial Palace apart, and the Nephilim along with it. Yet the heroes overpowered Belial and trapped his soul within the Black Soulstone. With peace restored to Chaldeum, the Nephilim prepared to hunt Azmodan, but Leah had already received a mocking vision from the Lord of Sin. Boasting about his knowledge of the Soulstone, Azmodan exulted, for his entire hellish host had begun invading Sanctuary from Ariat Crater. The fortress of Bastion's Keep, originally built near Mount Ariat to contain the Barbarian threat, had nearly fallen to Azmodan's armies by the time the heroes arrived. Even as the Nephilim halted Azmodan's attempts to breach the keep's walls with demonic siege beasts, pockets of demons snuck past the defenses and made their way inside, killing huddled civilians and wearing down the beleaguered defenders of humanity. Following Adria's guidance, the party of heroes traversed the depths of Ariat Crater to crush the Sin Hearts, demonic artifacts from the realm of sin that empowered Azmodan's armies. In the core of Ariat Crater, the Nephilim confronted the Lord of Sin. Azmodan unleashed the terrifying powers of hell against the heroes, transforming his lair into a warren of decay and corruption. At last, like Belial before him, Azmodan was defeated, his soul imprisoned within the Black Soulstone. The victorious heroes returned to a grisly scene atop the keep's parapets. Tyrael was bound in arcane chains, and the blood and bodies of dead guards formed a ritual circle around Leah. As Adria plunged the Black Soulstone into her daughter's flesh, she disclosed an awful truth. She was a servant of Diablo, and Leah, her child with Aiden, Diablo's vessel, would usher in the return of the Lord of Terror. Diablo's awesome presence immediately subsumed Leah's mind and body, transforming her utterly. Triumphant at her master's return, Adria fled, leaving Tyrael and the Nephilim horrified by the betrayal. With the Black Soulstone in his grasp, Diablo devoured the souls of Mephisto, Baal, and the four lesser evils, and thus absorbed the power and malice of all the lords of the burning hells. He tore open a portal to the diamond gates of the high heavens, at last in reach of his ultimate desires, eradicating the realm of his enemies and reigning supreme over creation as the prime evil. And the heavens shall tremble. Diablo arrived at the diamond gates of heaven wearing Leah's form, but Imperius, the Archangel of Valor and commander of heaven's forces, saw through the illusions of his ancient enemy and scorched the demon's false visage away. Diablo's true, terrible form was revealed, and the two fought bitterly until Diablo defeated Imperius and shattered the diamond gates. While Hell's forces had besieged heaven many times, they had never before managed to breach its gates, until this moment. Once the gates fell, the remaining members of the Angiris Council, heaven's angelic leadership, were swiftly scattered. Rushing to halt the despoiling of heaven, Tyrael and the Nephilim pursued Diablo through the open portal. There, they encountered a wounded and defeated Imperius, who blamed them for the ascension of the primeval and the ruination of the high heavens. Diablo's desecration of heaven had been merciless. Scores of hell's most powerful, avaricious demons flooded through the hell rifts. Angels were twisted into demons. Despair gripped the legions of the heavens. Undeterred, the Nephilim fought their way through the conquered high heavens, seeking the guidance of Ethereal, Archangel of Fate, and rescuing Oriel, Archangel of Hope, before ultimately confronting Diablo atop the Crystal Arch, the source of heaven's power and the lifeblood of all angels. Empowered by the souls of evil, Diablo unleashed ceaseless horrors upon the Nephilim, even drawing them into his reality-warping realm of terror. But the Nephilim succeeded where the forces of the high heavens could not, and, after a titanic conflict, finally rent Diablo's physical manifestation into ash. With Diablo vanquished, the hosts of the high heavens set to rebuilding the ruin of their home. Tyrael rejoined the Angiris Council as the mortal aspect of wisdom, a quality he knew would be sorely needed in the days ahead. He strove to heal the pain and distrust that spread through the heavens in the wake of Diablo's invasion, and to forge a true alliance between angels and mankind. But the specter of the eternal conflict continued to loom over his hopes for unity. And, at the end of days, wisdom shall be last. As justice falls upon the world of men, valor shall return to wrath, and all hope will be swallowed by despair. Death, at last, shall spread its wings over all, as fate lies shattered forever. After Diablo was defeated and trapped in the Black Soulstone, the Angiris Council resolved to secure it within the high heavens, but Tyrael doubted this solution. He recruited powerful humans from all over Sanctuary and dubbed them the New Horadrim, the first since the death of Cain. With their help, Tyrael stole the Black Soulstone from the high heavens and planned to conceal it beneath the ruined city of Corvus. Meanwhile, an ancient presence contemplated Tyrael's undertaking. Malthael, the former Archangel of Wisdom, had become tormented by the mysteries of creation. He had abandoned his brethren and, in his search for the nature of souls, had become the aspect of death. After the Nephilim defeated the Prime Evil, Malthael decided to exterminate all beings of demonic heritage, including humanity, to end the eternal conflict. He attacked the New Horadrim and seized the Black Soulstone. His army of Reapers, a terrifying host of angels and undead, began to slaughter the people of nearby Westmarch and harvest scores of souls. With each human soul collected, Malthael's power increased. Malthael spirited the Black Soulstone to another realm, the Pandemonium Fortress, frontline of the eternal conflict. Here, Malthael would reshape the Soulstone to consume all demonic essence in Sanctuary. With the help of a Crusader of the Zakrum faith, the Nephilim confronted Malthael. In combat, Malthael shattered the Black Soulstone and devoured the released souls of the Prime Evil, devastating the battlefield with the powers of hell and death. After a grueling conflict, the combined might of the Nephilim overcame the aspect of death. Malthael vanished in a blast of energy, releasing all the souls he had consumed, including Diablo. And Tyrael wondered if his Nephilim allies, who had now bested champions of both heavens and hells, would one day fall to the same corruption that brought low even the greatest of archangels. The Nephilim had done the impossible. By conquering death, they had redeemed the angels and saved all mankind. In that moment, with victory at hand, I saw the Nephilim in a new light. They are heroes who can defeat the champions of heaven and hell. But within them beats a mortal heart that will one day be tempted to corruption. On that day, will they have the strength to resist, or will they be our doom? And that is the story of Diablo 3. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next time.